What's up, my friends? Jake Marchand here, coming to you live from the Sunbelt. Well, even though it's sunny, it's still kind of cold. And I wanted to kind of put a bunch of stuff together for you guys. I wanted to make a video about the things I love about the Michelin CrossClimate2s. I wanted to kind of get a video in here that would just compile everything that I like about the tires, everything that I can think of, and put it all in one place. I've got a Mazda CX-5 2019 two-wheel drive. It doesn't have a turbo. I think it's a 2.5 liter engine. And I bought these tires, I don't know, several months ago, and I've got a little bit over 30,000 miles on them. So I've really tested the heck out of these tires. I've driven them for a long time. I want to just kind of give my input on what I think about these tires and what are the pros. And I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't make my #1 pro on these tires is the traction. But there's 3 or 4 different areas that I think they excel in. You know, obviously these are triple peak snow rated tires, so they're kind of marketed towards the people who want snow tires but want the snow protection year round in a way. You know, they're good for snow tires, but they're also very similar to like all weather tires. And I guess I should probably start there. You know, the snow performance, I haven't tested this as much as I have, for example, rain and driving through tropical storms and essentially tsunamis and, you know, floods. But I have tested them in the slush in Lake Tahoe, and I was up in North Carolina for I think about 5 days or so on vacation, and I was actually during that blizzard. Anybody up there that lives in North Carolina probably remembers the blizzard earlier this year, or maybe late last year. I think it was earlier this year. And I drove up there, and it just so happened to be right smack dab in the middle of it. It wasn't during the melt, it was right during the freeze. But the traction on these tires were phenomenal. I didn't feel like I needed anything I didn't feel like I needed any extra tire, any extra grip. I never even thought about throwing some chains on the tires. But the grip felt absolutely phenomenal. I never slid. I was staying up in the mountains, so you can imagine, like, I was parking on these extreme hills at my hotel. I was driving up these winding hills, and there'd be snow on the roads, except for where they salted. And I absolutely loved the traction that was available to me when I was driving my vehicle with the Michelin CrossClimate2s. Before I put these tires on, back when I had my stock Toyos that came on the vehicle, I'd been to Mount Rainier in Seattle, and I'd driven up Mount Rainier. And I'm telling you, like, before I even got to the chain area, I knew I had to put some chains on. So I know what it's like taking an all seasons or a summer tire up to, like, you know, one of the tallest mountains in the continental United States and driving through snow, and it doesn't work whatsoever. But I was driving through these parks and whatnot. I don't know if they're national or state parks. And I was driving all through the wilderness up in North Carolina, and I drove through these suckers just unimpeded by any sort of distraction, such as loss of traction, or anything like that. And I also took them out to Lake Tahoe and got to drive through all the slush, you know. And if you know anything about driving through the snow, you know that slush can be worse than snow a lot of times. You know, you just can't get any grips. And like comparing my old tires with the chains on it to my new tires with the my new vehicle tires, the Michelin CrossClimate2s, I would say I did actually better with the Michelin CrossClimate2s. And these tires are fantastic. I don't think I've slipped yet. I mean, I slipped more with my Toyos trying to turn left off the interstate, you know, once trying to floor it at a stop sign and turn left than I ever have in the snow with these tires. So I'm telling you, the triple peak is pretty legitimate. But where these shine to me, because I'm from the Sun Belt and that just seems how it is in the rain. I have driven through, I call them tsunamis because they may as well be. It's like when I'm driving down the interstate and I'm in whiteout conditions. I have driven through the tsunamis. I have driven in whiteout conditions where you can't barely see through your windshield, even though the windshield wipers are whipping it. I have driven through hurricanes. I have driven through, you know, areas on the interstate where you'll see people wiped out on the side of the road because they hydroplaned on the low spot. They hit too much water. I have driven through all sorts of horrible wet conditions with these tires, to the point of honestly endangering myself a little bit. Like, I've driven through instances where everybody on the interstate they're going 35, 40 miles an hour with their blinkers on, and some of them are pulled over to the side of the road, some are parked up under bridges, and I'll be in the fast lane on the left-hand side going 70, which like I said, with a little bit of Rain-X, some good windshield wipers, and some good tires, I felt safe, but I'll just be blowing past people. The second kind of aspect I like is similar, but it's the performance traction. You know, I've dealt with all-season tires or summer tires, you know, essentially my whole entire life, and there's these famous spots to where I would slip every single time. For example, when I'm getting off, going to my home, I get off the interstate, heading north, I get off the interstate and I bear right, and then there's a stop sign. You know, I have to wait for cross-coming traffic, and the light turns green, you kind of gun it and you head off to the left-hand side. And boy, I can't tell you how many times I've slipped going up that off-ramp hill, you know, when you not floor it, but when you accelerate and then your tires start spinning. And then, or especially when you're in a left-hand turn. And there's another thing that always used to happen when I had summer tires, especially when they would wear just a little bit. They'd wear 5,000 miles and lose their entire tread because the tread depth is just minuscule, and there's a bunch of little tiny micro tread patterns that wear off in the first 1,000 miles. But I would be driving and I would be at a stop sign, and then, you know, somebody would say, go, and they'd let me go. And I'm kind of an anxious person. I want to get out of their way, I guess. I don't want to speed. I just, you know, they're polite, so I want to get out of their way. So I'll kind of hit the accelerator kind of hard, turn the wheel left, and then my ABS will always have to kind of take control. You know, my tires will be slipping a little bit, and that doesn't happen. It hasn't happened. Like, I'm trying to think of one time since I've owned these tires in the past, I don't know, 6 months, over the past 30-something thousand miles, where I've ever slipped. I don't think my automatic braking system, my ABS, has turned on one time in the past 30,000 miles, whether that be going up a hill and flooring it, whether that be going up a hill and turning, whether that be stopping at a stop sign. I just don't think I've had one instance where my tires have slipped. I can't even remember it. So a lot of people sometimes they ask me about the performance, you know, the performance of these tires, how are they? And I mean, I can't say I'd recommend putting them on a Corvette. I don't think that's what they're built for, but at the same time, I can't slip. I can't make my vehicle slip. It just doesn't slip. You know, so I love the performance traction of these tires. The third thing I really love about these, and I'm trying to make this quick, but this isn't working out, is the durability. You know, if you go back to my videos and watch like my 4,000 mile review, or my 16,000 mile review, or I think the 28,000 mile review, I measure the depth of the tires. Now, no, I don't have a tire gauge, which I know gets some people mad, but I'll go buy one for $4 because I've had 100 people tell me to go buy one. But I use the head of a penny or the head of a dime, and I put it in the tire because that's how the state troopers where I grew up would test your tires. It's ridiculous, but they jump out with a dime, you know what I mean? Or, I mean, they jump out with a penny, you know, and I just always kind of did the same. And I have measured them from like 4,000 miles of wear to 30,000 miles of wear, and it's indistinguishable. Like, my first tires, the original tires, I've driven Bridgestone, I've driven Firestone, I've driven Goodyear, I've driven, like I said, I've had 5 or 6 pickup trucks, I've driven truck tires, you know, heavy truck tires with 80 PSI in the tires, I've driven light truck tires, I've driven a Ford Explorer Sport Track with all-terrains, and so I've driven all types of tires, and I'm telling you, like, these tires have not worn. Now, I don't know if that's because the tread pattern, I don't know if that's because the full depth of the pattern, I don't know if that's because, I have no clue why. I really don't know. I don't know if that's the materials, but these tires have not worn. I mean, they've worn so minusculely that I really can't measure it, you know. And these tires, like I said, I've already driven 30,000 miles and they look brand new. Now, I don't drive fast. I drive like 60 miles per hour or 65 on the interstate a lot of times because I want to save my fuel economy, want to save my tires, want to save my engine. You know, I just want to be safe as well. I'm just a safe driver. You know, I like to drive safe. I'm not a sports car guy. And the durability of these tires is just absolutely ridiculous. You know, I mean, I'll keep measuring them when I do my 35 or 40,000 mile review. I'll go and actually get a tire gauge so you guys can see, you know, what we're measuring up to. But, you know, when I use old Abe's head, when I use that penny and put old Abraham Lincoln down in it every single time for the past 30 miles, he's been pretty much cut off at the chin. I mean, and that's what they were like when they were brand new. So the durability on these tires is pretty ridiculous, and that kind of leads me into something, is like one of the fourth reasons is like safety. Like, these tires, in between the traction and the grip, these tires are so safe. I mean, they are just, I've been in sticky situations that I know I would have had problems with. Like, I don't think I drive fast enough to where I would have wrecked or anything like that, but I guarantee you, I used to hydroplane all the time, or at least 1 or 2 tires would hydroplane to where the ABS would kick in and the steering wheel would shake a little bit and you could feel it slipping. I mean, I haven't felt anything. I've been driving through what I call tsunamis, and I just haven't seen or felt any problems, you know? So I love them. I mean, I feel so safe in them. If, you know, like for example, if I had a wife or some kids or something like that, I wouldn't think twice about putting them on there, because like if money's not an issue, these are the safest tires, whether that be the snow or the water or the rain or the puddles or whatever. But I can't for any reason find any way that how these aren't the safest tires on the planet. And I've even gone so far to say, like, I kind of think they should be legally mandated. All tires should be like this. Like, they are hands down the grippiest, safest, most solid feeling, true driving, non-jerky, just wall around, well balanced tires I've ever driven. I mean, they are just ridiculously insane, ridiculously safe, and I love the safety about them. And the last little item I'm going to throw, this might be a throwaway item, but yeah, I love the clout. You know what I mean? I've never before ever had anybody come up and talk to me about my tires, you know, but I have that happen fairly regularly, a couple times a month. I've never had anybody mention my tires. I never felt a reason to go on Instagram and Instagram a picture of my tires, you know, but I did that as well, and I got more likes than my pictures of my face. So I guess people like the pictures of my tires better than my face, apparently. But yeah, I mean, like, I love the kind of the community and the cloud around these tires. Like, they're Michelins, you know, they are Michelins, and they over deliver, and sometimes people notice, you know, and they brought a lot of conversations and a lot of good interactions by having these, and just random interactions. And like I said, I love the community and the clout that goes along with these. So that's 5 things I love about these tires. I know I went a little bit longer than I should, but I'm gonna, you know, I just want to let you guys know that if you're scrolling through, you might say, hey man, this guy's had the tires a while. What does he hate? What are the problems? Or this guy's had the tires for a while. What's he really like about them? So hopefully this video can serve that purpose for you. And I love seeing you guys in the comments. If you have any comments or questions, just go and drop them below. I answer every one of them religiously, as quickly as I can. I love talking to you guys. Hit that subscribe button. I mean, smash that sucker. Smash that sucker if you like what I'm doing, because I'm going to keep trying to bring value, if at all possible. And I really appreciate you for watching this. I can't tell you how many times my day has been made just from getting to see that people are getting value from my videos. So I appreciate everything. Went a little bit longer than normal, but if you have any questions, let me know. Jake Marchand signing out from that Sunbelt, baby. Talk to you guys shortly. Thank you.